up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit KoolAid.
Fired up!
Y'all got KoolAid high.
Fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener! Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm. Because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
Pistons, they take down the Lakers 115-103. More the same recipe that we saw from the Nets game. 6 players in double figures, so the offensive cohesion, it is starting to look good, but defensively they look even better. You can tell the JB Bickerstaff is definitely making and having an impact on this team, but the vets are doing their thing. Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway, they went off. Kay Cunningham triple-double. Jaden Ivey continued to put pressure on the Lakers defense. It was just overall a good game from this team. Things to build on. And honestly, if the playoffs started today, the Detroit Pistons would be in the play-in. Hey, let's go. What up, though, people? It's your boy Brandon, aka Detroit KoolAid, your credentialed Pistons reporter and writer. Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, the vet of the network. Hey, all sports knower and Red Wings correspondent. It's Wake Up Woodward, and it's another victory show, man.
Hey, lots of victory shows.
Let's go.
And don't you forget, in the Dusty Mays debut, Michigan got a big win over Cleveland State.
Hey.
So did Michigan State basketball, to their credit. But yeah, we're not gonna. Trust me, that's all you'll hear on college basketball today, because we got bigger fish to fry.
Hey, you know what? You want to tell the people what we are discussing today?
Well, of course we got to start out with the Pistons, because they got themselves a really nice win last night. I think one that we were all excited about. Today is the day of the trade deadline. It's at 5 p.m., so we're definitely going to discuss that. There's a certain Detroit Lion that is in a race and has moved up in if I had a ballot, we're going to do top 10 NFL teams, and we are going to talk a little bit about the two college football teams in the state of Michigan that both suck. It's just who sucks more, but that's later.
What a rundown, man, and I can't wait. And you know what? Like you guys heard at the end of the clip, if the playoffs started today, this early in the season, right? Stop the count. It's vote day, right? Stop the count.
Oh, yeah.
Stop the count. The Pistons would be in that play-in. It's the exercise that we go over with Rod Beard every year. Can they be better than 5 teams? And right now, they are. But one of those teams is the Bucks. But right now, I don't even care. Detroit Pistons put back-to-back wins together with very, very similar recipes. Physical, kind of nonstop defense. Even if there were some mistakes and things to clean up, this team still continued to hustle. And you know what? They could be one of those teams, Flannel, that just says gritty, but I'm really starting to see that be a part of their identity. I'm hoping that this is something that continues on. You want to see this be really more of a habit after about 20 or 30 games into the season with a young team. But these vets, it's something about what they're bringing to the table that's also allowing this backcourt of Jaden Ivey and Kay Cunningham to flourish. And I got to shout out my dog, Isaiah Stewart. And you're going to hear a little bit more about that a little bit later.
Oh, yeah. Isaiah Stewart, you know what's great? What's been great about him this season? What I was hoping to see from him, I haven't even really seen, which is continuing his improved three-point shot. But he has been the best defender of the Detroit Pistons this year, without a shadow of a doubt. And he, even though he only played 25 minutes and he didn't make a three, I'm not going to say he dominated that game, but he was an absolute menace defensively. He had that big block of LeBron at the rim and was really big, played some really big fourth quarter minutes as well when the Pistons closed out the game. So a shout out Isaiah Stewart. You mentioned another vet and a Tim Hardaway Jr. Did a lot of the heavy lifting when it came to scoring in the first 3 quarters, 7 of 12 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3. He has been, I'd say, the best of the veteran acquisitions thus far through the first 8 games, which I'm kind of surprised about, but you love to see it.
All right. Breaking news. Pistons, we will pick that back up towards the end of the show. We were going to move the trade deadline to right now. Breaking news. Za'Darius Smith is a Detroit Lion.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So we get the breaking news.
We get finally. Bro, how many times is the breaking news on every show? Now, goodness gracious, Adam Schefter, Jordan Schultz, Tom Pelissero, Ian Rappaport, everybody is reporting this. Now, sources, the Browns are trading standout edge Za'Darius Smith to the Lions, who adds a key presence to the edge to help make up for the loss of one great Aiden Hutchinson.
Man, all right.
Instant reaction. I need your instant reaction, Flannel Sam. We're going to go around the crew, too. Didn't even get a chance to introduce everybody.
Ooh.
Goodness gracious, the Lions.
I mean, instant reaction is I'm ecstatic. Because to me, and I'm gonna go into way more detail after we come back from break, but to me, if they hadn't have done it, I would hesitate to call the Lions Super Bowl favorites, but now that they have, I think the Lions are the no doubt Super Bowl favorites.
We have the compensation.
Yeah.
From Adam Schefter, you said per sources, Za'Darius Smith in a 2026 7th is going to Detroit for a 2025 5th and a 2026 6th.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't mind that at all, because the reality is as much as we know that Brad Holmes has found gems in later rounds, a 5th and a 6th, if you would have told me that was the compensation, I would have, one of those pick sort of situations. And it looks
goodness gracious.
And
I'm fired up.
Obviously, the Browns, they're probably going to go into a long rebuild. They want as many picks as they can, but that to me is a good, like, just on surface, we obviously don't know how it's going to play out, but on surface, it is a fantastic deal.
This is a fantastic deal, and there was a lot of people who wondered if Brad Holmes was going to do anything. You know, we all believed that something needed to be done. We all kind of heard some of the noise and some of the rumors, and now, all of a sudden, we get this piece, something that he didn't do last year. This year, though, it's a little bit different, and I'm glad that he made this piece. I do wonder if Aiden Hutchinson is on the team, if he even makes a move of this caliber. But now, go and get it done this year. It sets this team up so well down the road, in my opinion, as well. But just go and make something happen. You have bolstered this. And I talked to a couple people as well at the Pistons game in media who they want the Lions to go out and even make another move. Go out there, like we've talked about.
There's time.
There's still time. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And when you look at the compensation, it's like, you know what? They still have assets.
Yeah.
Big assets.
Well, and that's what's so great about it. I honestly did not think that a deal was going to happen in the middle of our show, not even the middle, at the beginning of our show, to where there is enough time if they wanted to add somebody else, like a Azeez Ojulari. I'm just throwing a name out there. But as I said before, this to me, considering how well some Lions players have stepped up on the defensive side of the ball, like a Jack Campbell, like Kerby Joseph and Brian Branch taking their games to an even greater level, really the only thing that worried me was potentially if they go up against a really good quarterback and a really good offense, somebody even better than like a Jordan Love, that their lack of pass rush would have been a problem. But Za'Darius Smith, to me, given all of that, he doesn't make up for the production of Aiden Hutchinson, but he does enough, because when we come back, I'm going to really highlight just how badly I think this team needed somebody like Za'Darius Smith and what he actually brings. But you know what? Let's stay on the clock, because we could talk about this for probably 45 minutes straight. Planet Fitness. It's fitness that fits your budget. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, fairly knowledgeable staff, and a totally judgment-free atmosphere. Did you know that all Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? Want all the perks? Upgrade to the PF Black Card and enjoy use of amenities such as unlimited use of the Black Card Spa featuring hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancement, and more, along with access to over 2,500 locations worldwide and unlimited guest privileges. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness or planetfitness.com.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
Hey, KDK Law, if you're going through divorce, family issues, child custody, criminal law, you need excellence on your side, and KDK Law is excellent. It's situations that nobody wants to go through, but if you call Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law, you will be better off in the long run, and you will be thanking them many years down the road as you flourish in your post-issue life. So you need excellence on your side, and KDK Law of Birmingham, well, they're excellent.
Hey, I'm fired up. Hey, next segment is I got to get the back. I'm fired up. Brad Holmes went and got that edge rusher. I don't want to look beyond this year, but just, oh, man, my Lions fandom don't even know what to do right now. It doesn't know what to do right now, except for tip the cap to Brad Holmes because I believe in the moves that he makes. Not all of them are going to pan out. I don't expect him to be 100%, but I do expect him to always keep at 100. And this move to go out there and get Za'Darius Smith, and hopefully, I'm hoping that there's more cooking, because that, to me, was not a bad deal. I thought the compensation was good. I know some of the things that we discussed. I know some of those things that we heard other people in the national media discuss. But this right here is one that I believe works for the Lions long-term as well as for this Super Bowl window.
Oh, yeah. You absolutely love to see it, because Za'Darius Smith, I mean, let's just be quite frank. He comes in and is immediately an upgrade, a big upgrade over anybody that the Lions have been playing at the edge rusher position. And before we even talk about Za'Darius Smith, shout out to the Detroit Lions and their defense for going 3-0 in games in which Aiden Hutchinson was out. I wasn't so sure that they'd be able to do it. I was wrong. Shout out to this defense and for players stepping up. But the reality is, moving forward, you're not going to be able to get one sack in a 2-game stretch and only give up 14 points in both of those games. You needed a Za'Darius Smith, because right now he's kind of having, I wouldn't say a renaissance. He definitely wasn't bad last year, but in terms of his counting stats, Za'Darius Smith has 5 sacks already this year, where last year he had 5.5. And those 5 sacks, the other than Aiden Hutchinson, the player who has most on the Detroit Lions is Levi Onwuzurike with 2.5. He's got more pressures than anybody on the Lions besides for Aiden Hutchinson, tackles for loss, hits, hurries, all of that. Za'Darius Smith is a real NFL professional edge rusher. That is just what he does. And also, as I've said before, not that Za'Darius Smith is like a great run defender or anything like that, but he's a veteran. He knows how to set the edge, and I keep saying that the run defense has not been the same since Aiden Hutchinson has been out, and I do think Za'Darius Smith is going to be able to help with that. He can win one-on-ones. He's kind of that archetypal type player that Aiden Hutchinson and Marcus Davenport was. He's not a Sam linebacker. He's not a pass rush specialist. He is a true hand-in-the-dirt defensive end that can wreak havoc, that can be pretty good against the run, and I do think there's going to be a game or two throughout this season where Za'Darius Smith dominates, where he maybe gets a sack or two, maybe forces a fumble. He's He's a damn good player. And Terrell Williams, I'm sure, is excited to get his hands on Za'Darius Smith. Pause.
Definitely. Hey, you know what, man? Today, set up the Glaze Factory. It don't even matter. The Detroit Lions are definitely paving a road to the Super Bowl for themselves. I know people were seeing so many other teams getting involved in the trade market the last 2 or 3 seasons. And for the Lions specifically, the last couple seasons, especially this deadline, to see Brad Holmes get involved in this way. From a strategy standpoint, teams have to account for Za'Darius Smith. That's the thing. When you're going through game planning, you can't line up your offensive line and just say, you know what, one-on-one with Za'Darius Smith. No, you have to say, you know what, he is out there. Yeah. What are they going to do now? Because this defensive line was already holding serviceable. So even though we don't believe that it was as sustainable long-term, adding a Za'Darius Smith to this already serviceable defensive line, I do believe takes them up a couple notches. You're never going to replace exactly what Aiden Hutchinson brings to the table, but you got a whole team now that's playing with the mindset of for Hutch, that's playing with the mindset of next man up, step up, opportunities to do something great. You know, and that's what I like about this move right here, is that I believe Brad Holmes, when he sits down and he does his assessments, clearly believe that Za'Darius Smith is one of those final pieces to make sure that they can get to the Super Bowl and finish the story.
Absolutely. And honestly, with the way that so many players have stepped up on the defensive side of the ball, and I mentioned this before when it was just a possibility that the Lions would get Za'Darius Smith. Now they actually have him. If you look at their defense, and even if you look at their defensive line, if you can get Josh Paschal back healthy next week and you got Za'Darius Smith, plus the trio of interior defensive linemen in a Reeder, Onwuzurike, and a Lee McNeil, plus Anzalone and Campbell, plus Kerby Joseph and Brian Branch, Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold. That, to me, is a defense that has more than enough, given what the Lions have offensively, to win the Super Bowl. And the way that the defense has stepped up has necessitated that you didn't necessarily need the big, huge splash like a Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett. I would have taken them, don't get me wrong, but for the people who didn't want to necessarily give up, if you had to, multiple first rounds or even give up a high round pick for somebody like Trey Hendrickson, you kind of get the best of both worlds. A fifth this year and a sixth next year, and you even got a draft pick with Za'Darius Smith and a 7th rounder. That, to me, even though it is Brad Holmes, that's nothing, because at this point, Brad Holmes has already flipped the franchise with draft picks. You don't need to hoard more. You don't necessarily need more young talent, although you'd like it. For this season, you needed a Za'Darius Smith, and by golly, Brad Holmes made it happen. It's like Christmas, man, having this guy as our GM.
Hey, and you know what, man? I see the chat and the chat family as well. Let me see here. Big Dan Davis, Woodward Sports. Do you guys believe Brad is done making trades, or do you think there is more coming?
Well, I don't want to speculate necessarily, but the trade deadline is still about 8 hours. Yeah. A little more than 8 hours. So there's definitely more time, but I believe that Za'Darius Smith, obviously, if you want to add somebody else, I'd even be more happy, but I think Za'Darius Smith is enough. I really do. I really do. And for the people who are saying in the chat that he's past his prime, a little bit old, 32, he's having a really good year this year. That's really what I'm basing all of my analysis on Za'Darius Smith on. And I get it. He's not going to be bookend to Myles Garrett, which did make his job easier. I understand that. I understand some of the trepidations. But one of my points is that look who you have currently. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Not trying to disrespect this guy, but Al-Qamin Muhammad was awful against the Packers. He was all right in the previous game, but you don't want him starting games. You want Za'Darius freaking Smith. And Josh Paschal, before the year, I predicted a breakout, and he played really, really well when he was out there before he obviously had to miss the last couple of games. So I think the future is bright, and as I said before, the fact that the Lions were able to go undefeated when you didn't have Hutch, when you had on paper one of the worst collection of edge rushers in the NFL, is a testament to this team, and Za'Darius Smith will just put them right over the top.
Man, you know what? I wanna take a quick break and get into a lot more of this in the next segment. Chat family, continue to get your comments into the chat about the Za'Darius Smith news. Oh goodness, what bills you want us to pay, Mr. JB Smooth?
We got Woodward in Maine and the pregame show. I know it's so exciting right now.
Woodward in Maine and the pregame show. I'll tell you what, it's going to be an exciting one this Sunday. That is for damn sure. And hey, Detroit, on game day, wake up with Woodward in Maine, your source for all the insider information on the defending NFC North champions, your Detroit Lions, with insight from Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. Get ready, Detroit, every Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m. Woodward in Maine. And after that, you've got to go to the pre-game show. These guys will definitely be in this O-face mode when they have to do the pre-game show. Absolutely. That was me at the break. People don't know that, but that was actually me at the break. Probably too much information, but it's the New Holland Brewing Company pregame show. Every game day, Neil Rule and Sean Belegian bring you the best Lions pregame show. Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. on Woodward Sports. This week, live at Hayes Social in Shelby. The latest injury reports, fantasy sit and starts, and the inside scoop on your Detroit Lions. Join us for every Sunday home games. Are live at Second Best Bar in Detroit, your official guide to Lions game day on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, it's all your local long drink, Sabbath Coffee, Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, and Les Stanford Chevrolet.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
You and I pay our bills. Unlike my opponent, Dave Coulter, I won't take advantage of my job because I work for you. I'm Nick Jonai, and by the way, I do pay my water bills on time, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Nick Jonai for Oakland County.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
About that Tangerine Space Machine. This drink is out of this world. It's smooth, it's juicy with refreshing crush abilities. Take your taste buds to the moon with the Tangerine Space Machine. Grab yourself a can of this intergalactic haze of goodness. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but this is the official beer of outer space. They know about this on the moon. Brewed by New Holland Brewing Company, straight out of Holland, Michigan, so you can support locally. Go and grab yourself a case of this today. But if beer's not your thing, you know we always got Sabbath coffee for you.
Fuel your Detroit sports and Detroit Lions fandom with the perfect cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you're gearing up for a big game or savoring a quiet morning, Sabbath Coffee Roasters has you covered with fresh, locally roasted specialty coffee delivered right to your door. Head to www.sabbathcoffeeroasters.com. Choose your favorite roast. Use code Woodward to get 25% off your first subscription order. Awake and unwind, support local, and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Woo! I am fired up, man. We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward. We got the breaking news that completely took over every single segment so far of this show. Shout out to the Pistons' back-to-back wins. They defeat the 4-2 Lakers to move to 3-5 and into that last playing spot.
Suck it, Bronny.
Yeah. And it was just all of these kind of we want Bronny chants all night. But as Detroit sports fans, we wanted an edge rusher.
Yeah,
we wanted an edge rusher, and we got one. Za'Darius Smith. I just want to take another segment to just talk about it, and then we'll kind of break it down a little bit more. I'm seeing some other things that are popping up on socials too from Adam Schefter and others, and we'll get some more of these details as it relates to the Lions trading for Za'Darius Smith, a 7th-round pick coming to them, and outgoing a 5th and a 6th from 2025 and 2026, I believe. I feel like it's a steal, man. I really do.
Yeah, and honestly, what I like about the Lions doing as well is you've seen it throughout the NFL with the contending teams. You've seen like the Kansas City Chiefs. They added DeAndre Hopkins and Josh Uche. You even saw with the Buffalo Bills, they added Amari Cooper, who's been hurt, but he's going to be a big get for them down the road. You even saw the Minnesota Vikings, who themselves had a bit of a catastrophic injury in Christian Darrisaw, go out and get Cam Robinson. And this is what Super Bowl winning teams do. This is what Super Bowl contending teams do. You had a catastrophic injury in Aiden Hutchinson. You treaded water beautifully when he was out. You won all of your games when he was out. But where Za'Darius Smith is going to help you, where he's going to put you over the top, is in the process of winning the Super Bowl. And I've got a couple of games on the schedule even this season where I think Za'Darius Smith is going to make a huge difference, including the one Sunday at Houston. Hopefully he plays. He's a veteran guy. I don't think it's going to take him too long to get himself just into the Lions system and into the rotation because, he's been around the block. He's done this many, many times. He's had 3 double-digit sack seasons for Christ's sakes. But you look at Houston, you can certainly make an argument for maybe Stafford as well, that CJ Stroud is the best quarterback that you faced so far this year, or that you're going to face. And I understand that CJ Stroud, some people say that he's having a down year. I think that could be more attributed to his offensive line and to wide receiver injuries. But the point is that the Houston Texans, they just allowed CJ Stroud to get sacked 8 times. And this is where a Za'Darius Smith can potentially eat against an offensive line that has not been good. I mean, you saw against the Tennessee Titans, they don't have necessarily a good offensive line, but the Lions defense, even though it didn't cost them because they won by 38 because, of all the short fields and everything else, they weren't quite able to take advantage. And it's the Tennessee Titans. They're awful. With the Houston Texans, this is a team, even though I would pick the Lions to win, that can beat us. They certainly can if they play their best game and if the Lions don't. Za'Darius Smith is just another piece to where he can, I think, more consistently put pressure on a CJ Stroud more than anybody that you currently have. And it's not necessarily just the Houston game. I look at the game against Buffalo when you have to go up against Josh Allen, who is having a phenomenal season and is mobile, one of the best quarterbacks in the game. I think that's when you're going to benefit from a Za'Darius Smith. I think, and whether fair or unfair, the Lions defense, even though we know that they're improved, we know the secondary is improved, they still have some allegations to answer going to San Francisco and going up against Brock Purdy. And then, of course, the big one is that in the Super Bowl, which I'm not trying to get too far ahead of myself, but it's Super Bowl or bust right now. And when you really look at the quarterbacks in the NFL, most of the best ones play in the AFC. If the Lions go to the Super Bowl, they're going to be facing probably a Mahomes or a Lamar Jackson or a Josh Allen or somebody like that. That is where you are really going to need Za'Darius Smith. This is a power move by a team whose only measure of a successful season is whether they win the Super Bowl or not.
That's it. And per Adam Schefter, the other cost, aside from the pick swaps, because the Detroit Lions received a 7th. They sent a 2025 5th round and a 2026 6th round to the Browns for Za'Darius Smith. They are only paying and taking on the remaining $605,000 in Za'Darius Smith's contract.
It's nothing.
The Browns have paid $11.3 million of Smith's 2024 compensation.
And I believe
let Brad cook.
Let Brad cook.
And
I believe that Za'Darius Smith is under contract next year as well.
That's what I said. The long term.
I think his cap hit, I'm going to pull it up, is oh my goodness, for 2025. Am I reading this right?
Is it good or bad? Because I don't know what this reaction is right now.
$5.4 million.
That's it?
Wow.
This is strategic.
Wow. Is that was that because of what the Browns paid? Because it wasn't $5.4 million just a couple of days ago or a couple of hours ago.
Then what was the deal? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What the heck did Brad Holmes do?
That would have been probably because the Cleveland Browns are agreeing to pay for some of it.
He made them eat that? Brad Holmes said, you eat that.
This is just very on the fly research, because I didn't expect this to happen, but you certainly love to see it. But yeah, and I hate to get too far ahead of myself, but this is where what great teams do as well is let's just call it what it is. Very rarely do you go through a season, no matter how good you are, unscathed from injuries. You'd prefer for it not to be somebody like an Aiden Hutchinson, but if it happens, and it did, unfortunately, for the Lions, you can, if you're Brad Holmes and you're the Detroit Lions, you probably look at it in a way of, we can make some good out of this. I think the team proved in the last 3 weeks that they weren't going to crumble without Aiden Hutchinson. They were just a pass rusher to the caliber of Za'Darius Smith away from being Super Bowl favorites. But not only that, imagine if the Lions win the Super Bowl this year and the next season you have Aiden Hutchinson and Za'Darius Smith as bookends.
That's what I've
They'd
been
be Super Bowl
alluding to.
favorites in 2025 as well.
That's what I've been alluding to as well. Just like, you know what? I love how this sets them up right now, because it just for the segment of our fan base who didn't like that I was talking about the Houston Texans before we played the Packers. I'm trying not to get ahead of the Super Bowl for this season before we even talk about how great this makes the Detroit Lions next year. Like, that's what I'm saying. This move, when you talk about at least the finances as we're seeing right now, what Adam Schefter is telling us, the Browns have already done to eat a lot of that contract up. And what this means for them next year, this wasn't a move where you could just go in and say, oh, yeah, let me just go get this player. Let me just go get this player. This is a move that sets them up both, in my opinion, short and long term, as well as not tying their hands for when Aiden Hutchinson needs that contract again. That's what I'm saying. Like, so you don't just go out there and just get somebody who, if you believe that Za'Darius Smith gives you at least what you need to win that Super Bowl, and he's also the best financially and for your cap sheet, that's cooking.
It's the best. It could be the best financially. It could be the best in terms of if Brad Holmes doesn't necessarily want to mortgage the future for somebody even better.
No high picks.
They're going to be fine because Brad Holmes can make this trade, and then in the offseason, he can continue to build the team with what has been his strength, which is completely flipping a franchise around primarily through drafting.
Can you figure out what the Lions cap situation is?
I'm pretty sure.
Forward?
I'm pretty sure it's fine, but I can definitely.
Brad Holmes is cooking, because you got to think about what they can do if they say, hey, look, let's attack this defensive line through the draft next year. They can still do that while they have Aiden Hutchinson on the way back and they have Za'Darius Smith. You know what I mean? DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil is balling. This thing is getting spicy. When Brad Holmes said that he was building for longevity, he wasn't lying. When he said we don't want no cute seasons, he wasn't lying. And that's why we say, you know what? Even if he decided that no move was the best move, I would have been like, oh, you're making me a little bit nervous. But to this point, Brad Holmes has proven way, way, way more right than a lot of us initially wanted to give credit for. And that's why it's like, you know what? We rock with whatever we rock with. And Flannel, I see your face. So you've been doing the research. And it looks like good stuff, man. While I'm over here waxing poetically about my bald brother-in-chief, Brad Holmes.
Oh, Captain, my captain.
Oh, yeah. We got this is in honor of Brad Holmes for right now. Talk to me, brother.
All right, so the Lions, at least as of right now, have $27 million of cap space this season. They've got $67 million next year, which to give a gauge, and this is just as of right now, they have the 5th most this year, and then as of next year, they have the 11th most. You think that? I'm trying to think who's up for another contract, because you're looking at Aiden Hutchinson. I think as long as he comes back and proves that there's no long-term effects from the injury, which I don't think there will be, they're definitely going to give him a bag. They're going to make him one of the highest paid defensive ends in NFL history. But a guy like Kerby Joseph, he's somebody, and you can have egg on my face right now. He's somebody I predicted that maybe the Lions wouldn't pay long term. How stupid! What idiot said that? Oh, right, that was me. He's proved himself this year that he is worthy of getting paid, because spoiler alert, he's on my Defensive Player of the Year list. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, and he might be higher than some people that you. He's definitely up there.
Listen, man. I don't understand it. He has such a presence. Once again, shout out to Brad Holmes. This is my Brad Holmes dude this morning. I knew something was gonna happen, so I was like, let me get the shave going this morning. But I was walking back from the press conference last night after the game, and JB Bickerstaff and Kay Cunningham had some comments, bro. And walking across the court, everybody knew all the Detroit Lions was basically at the game last night. And you just feel this presence. You don't quite see it, but you feel this presence. And I was like, oh, my gosh, I'm on lockdown right now. And I looked to my left, and it's Brian Branch and Kerby Joseph sitting right there. Kerby was just in complete, incognito mode, man. Hoodie on, hoodie drawn, and just kind of sitting there. And all of these fans, I'm talking about long after the game is over, all of these fans are just walking up, hey, can you take a picture? Can you take a picture? The security's like, they got to go. And they're like, no, we're going to take one more. We're going to take one more. And it was really cool to see these guys being able to interact with the fans in that way and being able to provide that type of moment for them. And it's awesome to hear, because I can't wait till we talk about Kerby Joseph and what you have in your Defensive Player of the Year race. But just seeing what this team is, the excitement that the Detroit Lions bring to this community and bringing them all together, and just seeing how these guys are happy to be here in Detroit, happy to play as Detroit Lions, man. Like, what a culture change. That's why we always talk about, and it's not an overstatement, Queen Sheila. We posted at the socials and people were like, oh, isn't that a little far? Frick, no, it's not. It's Queen Sheila. That's what it is. Get with it or get rolled on. That's what it is. Straight up. You know, Mike Disner, Rod Wood, Chris Spillman, you know, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and co. This is just more good business when you talk about Za'Darius Smith to the Lions. And I'm already thinking about, man, this Texans game. I was already confident. Wait till the Friday show. Wait till the Friday show, bro.
And as I said, Za'Darius Smith is not the type of player that is going to need a long assimilation period into this defense, I don't think, given the fact that he is a veteran. And I am a changed man. Don't get me wrong. I am changed. I've turned over a new leaf. But WeezyD313 in the chat, you are having yourself a bad day. I tried to tell all of you in the chat and all of you in the room, you thought that I was being maybe a little bit conspiratorial, that there are people like WeezyD313, like Rando Smalls, although I'm not picking on you because you're not talking reckless in the chat, that have this almost fetish of not going after anybody, of winning one without Hutch just to get one over on people because you never were a fan of Aiden Hutchinson anyway, WeezyD313. And he in the chat is saying the wildest stuff like I've never seen Za'Darius Smith make a play since he was opposite Preston. And that was, of course, Preston Smith with the Packers. Let me ask you this question, WeezyD313. Did Za'Darius Smith have a double-digit sack season in 2022 with the Vikings or not? Did he or did he not? Look it up. He did. How many sacks does Za'Darius Smith have this season? The correct answer is 5. Besides for Aiden Hutchinson, who currently leads the Lions in sacks? Levi Onwuzurike with 2.5. So WeezyD313, just enjoy it, man. Why are you being so stubborn about this? It was a great move, and the Lions, for all intents and purposes, gave up nothing. I don't give a damn about a 5th and 6th round pick right now. They don't need that. They don't need to hoard draft picks right now. They with Za'Darius Smith, they are arguably
air fryer, flannel to broil flannel.
With Za'Darius Smith, the Lions are arguably the best roster in the NFL and the Super Bowl favorites. That's what the Lions needed. They couldn't. In my opinion, and I can say this now because I always wanted to give the
You're
default.
Changed, man.
Yes,
I see you trying.
Yes.
I see you trying.
I want to say this, and I can say this now because my default always has to be trust Brad Holmes because of how he's built this team. But he knows, and I know that it would have been irresponsible not to do something like this. And Brad Holmes was never not going to make a move, especially if this was the compensation. So WeezyD313, stop crying and enjoy the ride, or get out of the chat. You're being ridiculous. You're being a child. A literal child.
Listen.
Jesus Christ. People act like I'm a conspiratorial maniac. Those people, they do exist. Santa?
Let's go, Brad Holmes. Cinty Squid. He says, y'all see the interviews with all the Browns players knowing Smith was leaving? Nothing but very high praise for Z. And Burn, $5 super chat. To revisit a point from a few weeks ago, the Hutch injury may have improved our defense in the long term. Next year is going to be even crazier.
Well, wow. and Burn, I have to kind of apologize to you on that, because when you said that initially, I was a hurt man because Aiden Hutchinson is my favorite Detroit Lion. Everybody knows that, although I am more of a Lions fan than a Hutch fan, so guys, stop typing. I get what you're saying now because I made that point earlier that I'm not necessarily saying that they are going to – I don't think they're going to be better this season without Hutch, but in the long term, and I think this season Za'Darius Smith gives you enough to put you over the top, and then next year potentially looking at Hutch and Za'Darius Smith as bookends, that's sexy.
People like a flash of old flannel.
Well, I mean, it's just
sometimes you gotta show them again.
Yeah.
And you know what? I didn't call any names. I'm just trying to get you on the train, WeezyD313. I mean, and stop appropriating Lil Wayne's name. Stop appropriating Lil Wayne's name if you're gonna act like that. The real legend, not you.
JB Smooth, man.
He went there.
Hey, you know what? Let's take another break. We got to get the booth involved too, man. Like, this has been such a crazy day. I know Chase got stuff to say. I know Woodward Sports MVP got things to say as well.
Let's come back and get the guys behind the glass opinion on this, because this is a big day. It's a momentous day. The Lions get a victory, and then they make a trade. You've got to. You just love to see it.
You love to see it.
The dream at times like these.
And you know what? I saw, where is he at in the chat? I am sorry.
Like these, to rhyme like these.
Shout out to the MVP. But he quoted us. He said, hey, Flannel, KoolAid, I don't see what it is. Do you guys expect any more trades by 5?
The good news, and I've said this before, I'm relaxed now. I'm as chill as a cucumber. I was relatively, because I knew Brad Holmes was going to do something, but now that he has.
It's almost like that Jared Goff mode. Like that when he knew he was going to be here long term, and he was in that podcast, like, yeah, I'm just chilling.
Because
for a while.
Because they have nothing to lose. I think they have enough right now. But with another one, especially another quality one, good luck.
DJ Khaled mode, another one.
Good luck. All right, yeah. Let's get into the next segment. We got to introduce the booth. Shout out to our brothers as well. That dude Justin, Matthew Broder, KG get well soon as well. Oh my gosh. You know what? Walking Any Lady Jane's haircuts for men today. It's open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a $20 haircut special. A scalp massage, a hot lather, hot lather neck shave.
You're close.
And a hot towel treatment for one of our talented stylists. Take advantage of our $20 haircut special. All you got to do, scan that QR code somewhere over there, and you too can look like Brad Holmes for a discount. Just scan the QR code, get that coupon today, and walk into Any Lady Jane's haircuts for men. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. It's wicked awesome.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
You and I pay our bills. Unlike my opponent, Dave Coulter, I won't take advantage of my job because I work for you. I'm Nick Jonai, and by the way, I do pay my water bills on time, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Nick Jonai for Oakland County.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and every Thursday during Ermanni and Edwards, where he's offering you top-notch injury advice. You got to trust the guy that 4-time Stanley Cup champion winner Darren McCarty trusts. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsAndSpine.com or call 248-426-9944. Welcome back, people. It is Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for kicking off the day with the WUW Crew. Brad Holmes cooked up again, man. You talk about having no cute seasons. I loved when he said that, because we were on here saying, you know what? Nah, man, I'm so glad that the Lions have this kind of air about them. Right after the game, you heard Amon-Ra St. Brown. Right after the NFC Championship, and you heard Dan Campbell say, we're getting back, man. Like, I know it's hard to get back, but we're built for this. And where they see that they need to be able to add a little bit more, they went and did that. And this move strategically sets them up so well, not just for the now, but you can even see people in the chat, they can barely contain their excitement for the fact that Brad Holmes cooked for next year too. Already by this one deal, bringing in Za'Darius Smith, keeping your high draft capital. So if you choose it, hey, you know what? I want to just kind of Salt Bay by 5 o'clock today. I got that as well. Man, like I said, shout out to our brother Matthew Broder. I know he's going to have a lot to say on Woodward and Maine. Shout out to that dude Justin. And shout out to KG, man. Get better, bro. A couple days, a win, a trade. I'm hoping that this is helping you on your recovery, bro. Woodward Sports MVP. In the Teddy booth, it's a Tuesday. It's a trade. It's the Lions. The Pistons won. Everything's right in the world, JB. Everything's right in the world right now.
Man, we were super excited coming into the day, just thinking of what, Brad Holmes could do. And to top it all off, the Pistons, they got their win over the Lakers yesterday as well, too. But if you really want to know how I'm feeling right now, I got to show you this picture of this man, because this is just how my level of excitement right now, how I feel at this moment.
Oh, my God.
That's how I feel. Like, I'm just happy, as Flannel said, that Brad Holmes has made a move. He's done something right now that, kind of eases the tension of everyone around in the city of, like, needing that edge rushers, needing that pressure. But I still don't think he's done for the day. Like I said, you only gave up a 5th and a 6th, and you got a 7th back in return. There's still time today that he could still finagle someone else and make some moves. Like, you've already made the call to the Raiders about Max Crosby. Alex Ojulari is still on the list as well, too.
Just give him all your picks.
And another name that, I just want to throw out there. It might not be the best of names for everyone, but it's still, I think, someone who kind of has that similar high motor that Aiden has as well, too. He just needs a better environment, and that's Chase Young. So that's another option out there. Like I said, Brad, you've got the options. You have plenty of time. Sit here, cook, and as the Miracle said, you better shop around.
And I'm always going to be partial to one Jadeveon Clowney. I dislike what he did to Michigan. I really do. That still plays on, like, nonstop, rent-free in my head. But he got fam here. Now, you guys have heard me say it before, related to the Clowneys here in Detroit. His uncles, his parents, some of those people are up here, as well as in North and South Carolina as well. So it's like, I would like to see him here for personal reasons. I think that as a secondary piece, there's a little bit there, but I do like a lot of what JB Smoove was talking about as well, Flannel.
Oh yeah, most certainly. And Chase, what are your thoughts on the Za'Darius Smith trade? I know you were a hard no on the addition of a Chase Young as well, but let's start with Za'Darius Smith. How are you feeling today?
I'm excited. I think it's an awesome move. I think Brad Holmes, to make a baseball reference, he waited for his pitch. He didn't just swing at everything.
Nice.
Yeah, people say they can't hear. Is it low? Because you're over there spitting facts, man.
Yeah, you're over.
Yeah, I turned it up a little bit, but it's on.
Dang, they said no audio. Because I hear you, but I don't hear it while you're talking. But
yeah,
man,
Stick was having some issues over there yesterday. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, no, he was over there cooking though, man. What up,
Oh yeah. Sorry about that, Chase, because he was. No, I didn't mute him. Me and Chase are we are fantastic right now. He's doing great work, and he was actually making some really good points. I really wish he could have been heard there. But JB, you brought up an interesting name, which to some is radioactive, but to me, I actually agree about Chase Young in addition to Za'Darius Smith. I don't hate that at all. If that would have been the only move that Brad Holmes would have made, it wouldn't have been my favorite. But Chase Young, I think he's better than what people think, and I also think that he was more of a contributor to the 49ers last year than he's given credit for, because when you look at Nick Bosa's sack totals last year, because that's one of the reasons that Chase Young was there, to be the bookend, to give Nick Bosa some help. Nick Bosa's sack number skyrocketed, and Chase Young also had a sack in the Super Bowl. But, to Za'Darius Smith, that's, to me, as I've said, if that's the move, I'm cool with it. If that's the only move, I'm cool with it. And now Chase moved over to the chair. So try to repeat everything you said in the sound booth the best you can.
Yeah, so as you guys didn't hear a second ago, I was saying Brad Holmes, he's making the right move to shout out to our guy Broder, who's in the chat. He's a baseball guy. Brad Holmes is waiting for the right pitch, his pitch. He's not just swinging at anything up at the plate. He's making the move that he knows is directly going to impact winning on the field and in the locker room. I think it was on Ermanni and Edwards yesterday. They were playing exit interviews from like the Cleveland media, asking Browns players what it would be like if this is their last time taking the field with Za'Darius Smith, and they just kept emphasizing his character as an individual and how much he's going to impact any locker room he's in, yet alone a winning locker room like the Detroit Lions, where there's still plenty of time in the day to go possibly make another move. And I'm not against a move from New Orleans, JB. I do think there's a better option, though, that Dan Campbell is more familiar with, that we could probably get at a cheaper cost in Cam Jordan. He's another guy who's a little bit up there in age, but to honor the late Toby Keith, you don't have to be, he's not as good as he once was, but he's as good once as he ever was. And that's all you need him to be, is that good one time in the Super Bowl.
I mean, I'll tell you what, too. Cam Jordan, I would love. And Broder has been, he's been, I wouldn't say pounding the table, but he even mentioned it when he called in the other day on our show, Carl Granderson. And for the record, if you were to give me a New Orleans player, because they're obviously done, they just fired their coach and they're 2-7, Chase Young would be third on my list of what I would want. I would take, it would be Granderson, Jordan, and then Chase Young for me. It's just any of those guys when you already went after Za'Darius Smith is, I think that would be fantastic. I think that would put them even more over the top. But with Chase Young, I do keep saying that he's not, I keep seeing in the chat that people don't think he's a culture fit. And I don't necessarily agree, but I can't be mad at you for that. And as to what Chase is saying, culture matters with the Detroit Lions. It's been proven out ever since Brad Holmes got there that one thing that you can't be if you want to come to this Detroit Lions team is a dick or a cancer. And Za'Darius Smith, even like throughout his entire career, he's been known as a consummate professional. Everywhere he goes, he contributes. He's loved in the locker room, and that was borne out by Browns players' interviews. Even though it's been a tough season for them, they still have a lot of reverence for Za'Darius Smith. You love to see it.
And it further, in my opinion, it further bolsters this locker room. So if you want to take a chance on a player that might not fit the traditional aspect of the culture that you're trying to set, you know what? You got guys in that defensive line room. You have a coach in Terrell Williams, and you have a defensive coordinator in AG who they have command over that room. We already know about what the studies and what the polls and what the votes talked about, right? Who was the number one coach that players in the NFL wanted to play for? Not a current head coach, but one of the assistants that's not your own. AG was number one, Aaron Glenn. And so that does make a difference. Sometimes the situation matters. We could talk about culture. We could talk about how a player looks. But when you kind of look at the situations they've been in, did the culture sour them? And then ultimately they sour on that culture? And would something like the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell be appealing? Would it be renewing and revitalizing to some of these players who might be on the border as it relates to, that character or that type of a fit? When you have a player that has some talent and you have some coaches like you do here with the Detroit Lions and guys who command respect all the way from the front office, man, Chris Spielman all the way down, I don't mind them taking a chance on it because they've also shown that they have no problem with correcting on these things within a season.
No, and to further your point and to bring it back to the Za'Darius Smith situation, what did you see last night on Monday Night Football to give a little bit of a parallel? You saw DeAndre Hopkins put his imprint on that game and put his imprint on the Kansas City Chiefs. And after the game, when they were interviewing him on how does it feel to play here, it damn near looked like he was going to cry tears of joy. The reason, because before that he was playing with Mason Rudolph and Will Levis and has and in his time with the Texans, at least at the beginning of his career, had a very unstable quarterback situation. So DeAndre Hopkins probably feels like he's in heaven right now. It could be the same for Za'Darius Smith when he gets here. I know that last season the Browns had a successful year and their defense was a big reason and he was a big part of it. But this season, given the expectations, you can argue that the Cleveland Browns are the single most disappointing team in the NFL. So he's going from that to the Lions, who are almost universally regarded, certainly universally regarded as at absolute worst the best team in the NFC. That matters. that matters for Za'Darius Smith, who's a veteran, who's put up a lot of big numbers and has been on some really good teams, but hasn't ever gotten himself a ring. So Za'Darius Smith probably feels like, not only can I, and I get it, he didn't have a choice, he was traded, but he's probably feeling like, given the opportunity that he has, that not only can I ring chase a little bit in some of his twilight years, but I can be one of the biggest reasons why they get that ring, because he's their best pass rusher on day one. He walks into the building, at least healthy pass rusher.
Man, this is so beautiful, man. Just to know that Brad Holmes has made this move, it's like you said, I'm comfortable now. I want to see them make another move, but I already believe that this defense and the combination of this defense and offense with how elite their special teams is looking right now, and how few mistakes they make. Like, they're not necessarily shooting themselves in the foot too much, and you want to knock on wood, because that has to be the recipe to continue. I believe they already had enough to get to the Super Bowl and at least give themselves a chance. There were people already right now contemplating and wondering if the playoffs started today, or if certain teams met in the Super Bowl. It's looking like the Detroit Lions, still as presently constructed, are one of the best teams, if not the best team in all of the NFL. We've heard what players have said, because Jared Goff is putting up what some people believe to be an MVP-type season. And now you add in a Za'Darius Smith to that, to be able to help this pass rush. And not just the pass rush, I'm so glad that you focused on what this can do for the run stopping ability as well. Yeah. Because when Aiden went down, I think a lot of people say, yeah, that's going to be a huge for the pass rush. But how much attention did we pay to the run game? Because we just believe, well, Aleem and Reader and Cole and our linebackers, they're going to be fine. And honestly, when you talk about some of the top teams in the league and those running backs we have to face, including a team that is really starting to turn out formidable in the Eagles, with one Saquon Barkley, you want to make sure that you have everything that you can get, especially in a playoff matchup against that. And when you talk about the Chiefs, when I looked at that game last night, when you talk about, some people, they're always looking for their downfall or for them to fall off. And you just looked at how surgical Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid won that game. Couple different drives to come back and to win the game. It's just like, you know what? I want as much in artillery as possible. I want as much ammo as possible. I don't want to go into there just like, well, yeah, we got enough. That's fine. That's completely fine. I want to bury whoever the Lions are playing every single game. And that's the energy they've been bringing, that kind of Black Air Force energy. The Cowboys bury you. The Titans bury you. The Packers bury you. The Vikings will spot you 10 and in, bury you. That's what they've continued to do. Seahawks and Cardinals, you're in my rear view. Y'all are over there piddle-paddling for 500 to win your division. That's what y'all are doing. Meanwhile, the Lions are kicking themselves because they know we should be undefeated. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers fall to 4-5.
Well, the funny thing is like kicking yourself is relative, because 7-1 is just fine. Although I get what you're saying. Yeah. I think as long as they win the NFC North, that they will get the 1 seed, which is really all that really matters, because obviously the Super Bowl is on
burying everybody,
which I think Za'Darius Smith will help them do. But I want to continue the Za'Darius Smith discussion because David Witt said something really wise in the chat, and it's obvious, but it's something we haven't gotten a chance to really touch on yet, because there's just so much to talk about when it comes to Za'Darius Smith. But first, JB, tell us about Caesars.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
And maybe the chances of just bring back Uncle Bruce Irvin, just for the heck of it at this
point. I'm good. If you want to go in and injure CJ Stroud, not permanently like you did to to Derek Carr last year, that's fine.
I love it.
Anywho, never wish injury on anybody. JB Caesars.
I mean, I don't got a problem with you injuring them, but that's just me.
Fair enough.
Anyway, Caesars Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Scan that QR code on the screen. Use code Woodward1000. You can deposit up to $1,000, and all you have to do is place a minimum of a $20 bet. And if it doesn't hit, you know what? They will throw that right back into your account with no questions asked. I'm not kidding. Scan the QR code on screen. Use code Woodward1000, and you know what? Make some money today.
Hot Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports.
You and I pay our bills. Unlike my opponent, Dave Coulter, I won't take advantage of my job because I work for you. I'm Nick Jonai, and by the way, I do pay my water bills on time, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Nick Jonai for Oakland County.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Volunteering but don't know where to start? Start with the Salvation Army's Red Kettle campaign. Visit registertoring.com to sign up for shifts. You'll have an option to choose a 2-hour session at a physical Red Kettle site or participate in a virtual bell ringing shift to raise funds from the comfort of your own home. Virtual bell ringers can sign up and begin raising funds at any time. Traditional bell ringing begins on Friday, November 7th and runs through Christmas Eve, excluding Thanksgiving and Sundays. To sign up for volunteer shifts, visit registertoring.com.
And we are back, man. It is a victory show. It's a trade show. It's a Brad Holmes cooked again show. Za'Darius Smith and a 7th round pick to the Detroit Lions for a 2025 5th round and a 2026 6th round pick. And furthermore, the Lions only paying $605,000 of Za'Darius Smith's $11.4 million. And by the looks of it, the cap hit next year is just a little over $5 million for Za'Darius Smith. Let Brad Holmes cook. And I saw Broder earlier in the chat. He said, yo, they still have so much cash. They still have so much flexibility in the assets to go out there and do more. I know the chat is percolating. They're hoping to see something more, but I do believe that this is something that makes the Lions the clear-cut favorites. I'm seeing ESPN, I'm seeing Fox, I'm seeing all the CBS, all the other sports companies out there asking the question now, Lions or the field?
I would say Lions. And David Witt brought up something in the chat that I think is something we can build on, is that Aleem is going to benefit from Z. Yes, he is. 100%.
Our $20 million man, Aleem.
And just to clear something up, Aleem McNeil actually leads this team in sacks for anyone not named Aiden Hutchinson. It's not Levi. Aleem has 2.5. Levi O has 1.5. Just to fact check myself a little bit there. But yeah, Aleem McNeil, he's the perfect example this season of somebody who, ever since Aiden Hutchinson went out, he's still playing well, but he's not getting the sacks. He's not getting the counting stats because you don't have all of your attention drawn to an Aiden Hutchinson. You can kind of primarily focus it on the middle, on the interior, because last week, Aleem McNeil had 7 pressures. He was doing his thing. He played very, very well against Green Bay. He was one of their best defensive players in the game. You could certainly argue other than maybe Jack Campbell and Kerby Joseph. Aleem McNeil is ballin'. And Za'Darius Smith, other than just being a great player himself, I do believe he is that force multiplier type of player who will make the whole defense better just by his presence. Do you know one of the greatest pieces of evidence that I have to that?
Talk to me.
Myles Garrett has been one of the best edge rushers, one of the best football players in the world, damn near since his rookie year, certainly since his 2nd season. Last season was the only full year he played with Za'Darius Smith. Last season was Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett won the Defensive Player of the Year. I'm just saying. He did that with Za'Darius Smith. That's pretty cool. I'm not saying it was just because of Za'Darius Smith, but he was that more than adequate more than adequate bookend. And Za'Darius Smith in Detroit, he's going to not be the bookend. He's going to be the man unless they get somebody else. However, we all know that the interior of this defensive line is strong, and they've been impactful since Aiden Hutchinson has been gone.
They've had to do a little bit more.
They've had to do more than they should. I'll just say that. They've had to do more than most interior linemen are capable of, besides for like the cream of the crop, like the Dexter Lawrences and the Chris Joneses. Because Ali McNeil and Levi Onwuzurike, neither of them have had a sack since Aiden Hutchinson went down. Again, doesn't mean that they're not playing well. It just means that they're asked to do too much right now, and I think that will change just with having Za'Darius Smith, because his presence, the Lions having a real pass rush on downs where they don't blitz, is going to help everything. It's going to help the pass, the pass rush. It's going to help the run. It's going to make it so that the DBs can match up better without not having to necessarily always play one-on-one. So Za'Darius Smith, he's going to help Ali McNeil, and he is going to help everybody on this Lions defense.
Oh, definitely. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because when you look out this team has played, we got to give them credit. Some people say, well, we want more pressures, and the run defense has gone down a little bit. No, this defense has still continued to be a team that it is tough. It's tough for other squads to score 20 points against the Detroit Lions. It's tough. This Detroit Lions defense has gone out there and been put in some bad positions early while the offense was still trying to get it together. And they've continued to be honestly a very, very, very good strength. Early on, I thought that they were one of the main reasons why they were as formidable as they were, and with Aiden Hutchinson leading that charge. Now you're adding somebody into the mix who's not going to replace Aiden Hutchinson at all. But like we saw with the identity of this team and what we hear about Za'Darius Smith, that these guys collectively now have enough talent to be even better than what we've seen. Now, how the running numbers started to creep up just a little bit, and you started to see a little bit more of those gash plays from some of the Lions' opponents, I expect those things to become less and less and less. And I'm glad you mentioned the linebackers. Not just them, but the usage rate of guys like Brian Branch and Kerby Joseph. Being able to kind of sit back and play more schemes than they are able to right now. We knew that they were going to switch their strategies when Aiden Hutchinson went down, and not just him, others on that defensive line. They lost 3 players on the defensive line. So it's like we knew that they were going to, and not just the 3 players lost, but the players that were supposed to be the depth, like James Houston and co., they're not necessarily meeting the mark either. So it's almost a double whammy. It's not just 3 out. It's 3 out and some of the depth that's not there either. You can extrapolate that to 4 or 5 players just missing or not contributing what we need. And this line is still held serviceable. But I'm hoping now that Aaron Glenn gets the opportunity with Za'Darius Smith here, hopefully they cook up a little bit more, to take that defense and put it back to a little bit of the looks we saw when Aiden Hutchinson was in there, when they looked suffocating.
Yes, and to further just how much Za'Darius Smith is going to help, I go back to last week, and don't get me wrong, the Lions defense did way more than enough, and they were opportunistic and they were stingy when the Packers got to the red zone. But before the game, I saw the starting edge rushers were Alkamin Muhammad and Levi Onwuzurike. Nothing against them, especially Levi O. He has had a good year, and he's finally had a full healthy season where he's, I wouldn't say lived up to the promise, but he's been a very solid contributing member. You don't want those as your starting edge rushers.
No.
Next week against the Texans, how much better does Za'Darius Smith and Josh Pascal sound?
That
sounds a lot better.
It makes me smile, man. It's nice.
And that was a big win. And I think going into Green Bay and facing a team and a quarterback and a receiving core like Jordan Love and his friends, that's not something. I don't want to retroactively say stuff like, well, Jordan Love sucks anyway. I'm not going to do that, because he doesn't. He certainly doesn't. He made one terrible play, but he's a good quarterback. It's just, he's not as good as guys you're going to face later on in the season. He's certainly not as good as guys you'd face in the playoffs. You might face Jordan Love again in the playoffs, by the way, and certainly not the Super Bowl, because if it's Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, hell, even somebody like Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow, that's a completely different animal, and this is what Za'Darius Smith is here for.
Hey, listen, I'm glad you said the name. Cornelius T. Shout out to Cornelius T, man. He's one of the regulars. He just, I guess, woke up, just got into the chat. What up, though? And he's like, wait, what did I miss? What is going on? Guys, tell me what the heck is going on. Who did we get? Za'Darius Smith. We will reset for the audience that is just now getting in, because I know around 9:10, 9:15, we usually get another influx of people who are just getting to the office or school and putting on the show. Za'Darius Smith has been traded to the Detroit Lions with a 7th-round pick coming to the Detroit Lions in exchange for a 2025 5th-round pick and a 2026 6th-round pick. And even more, it gets even juicier. This is a juicy steak, right? This isn't like, the trash hibachi spots. This is like prime. This is Kyoto's right now, bro. Kyoto's hibachi. That's how prime and juicy this steak is. The Lions only paying $605,000 of his compensation. Why? Because the Bengals have already paid $11.4 million.
Isn't it beautiful?
Cook.
The way that Brad Holmes not only has
juicy
drafted
steak.
but managed the cap while still creating, while still building the Lions into a force. It's
crazy, dog.
It is definitely something to behold. And I'm seeing Chase in the chat. Azeez Ojulari.
Oh yeah, Broder and Justin were talking. They couldn't figure out how to spell his name. Can you guys hear me? By the way,
I can hear you.
I can. I'm gonna see if the chat can.
Okay.
Put you back on main stereo. We'll see if that fixes anything.
But yeah, I was just trying to help them figure out how to spell his name.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was just
But I take
chat. Let us know if you can hear Chase.
Yeah, I think you can.
I think they can. Yeah.
Dope.
But Azeez Ojulari, if Brad Holmes wants to do more, that's another name on the table. You got your hand in the dirt, 4-down edge rusher who can defend the run as well. Azeez Ojulari, you could argue he's more of like a Sam linebacker. He doesn't do a whole lot against the run, and he's been hurt a lot. But this season, man. And yes, he has benefited heavily from that Giants defensive line, which is nasty for no reason whatsoever. One of the nastiest defensive lines on paper you'll ever see for no reason. The Giants are completely wasting them. But Azeez Ojulari, you could say he's benefited from that. But I think an Azeez Ojulari and a Za'Darius Smith as bookends,
Don't it smell
that's
like
pretty
something
sexy.
is cooking? Though? Like
yes.
It's laid out for them. So, like, if Brad wants to get a little bit of filet, and then he wants to get a little bit of ribeye, he can do that too.
Yes.
He got the bank. He has the capital. And honestly, I'm hoping he's looking at this thing like how the Rams did when they approached their Super Bowl. And I'm not going to hate on it. I will always use it as a way to try and diminish what another team has done over our Lions. Yeah, you won a Super Bowl because you went and paid for it. At this point in time, pay for that mug. I do not care.
I was about to say, KoolAid, what did they pay for? What did they pay for?
What, Za'Darius Smith?
No, the Rams. What did they pay for?
A Super Bowl.
A Super Bowl. What has the Lions franchise never won? Not trying to bring that up right now, but you can't diminish Super Bowls. But what the Lions are doing, if they just trade for Za'Darius Smith and give up late round picks, you're not even really doing F them picks.
You're not.
Because obviously, the Rams, when they went on their run to a Super Bowl championship, they had guys that they drafted, like a Cooper Kupp and an Aaron Donald, obviously. But they were more. You brought in Matthew Stafford, you brought in Von Miller, you brought in Jalen Ramsey. With this team, with the Lions, even with Za'Darius Smith, they're more built through the draft. Mm-hmm. So they're not even. If they can win the Super Bowl this year with Aiden Hutchinson missing the majority of the season and just bringing in Za'Darius Smith, you're not even effing them picks. You're being smart in every single way.
Bro, he didn't F the picks.
Yeah.
He didn't F the cap hit this year. He didn't F the cap hit next year. He didn't F the Aiden Hutchinson's potential contract. Like, there's so much to these deals that when we sit down and we talk about fit, he's looking at fit from so many different ways, and it's how do I make sure that every single season the Detroit Lions are going through and hearing all of the offseason hype, that they can actually believe in it. Yes, we are Super Bowl contenders because we are built to be Super Bowl contenders.
Yes.
It's not just a saying. It's not just going out there and just grabbing a couple different players. It's actually going out there and doing a dang old thing, and that's what he's doing. Like, this squad, let's get through this year, buy that Super Bowl. But next year, you got Aiden Hutchinson coming back and Za'Darius Smith. Like, that's stupid.
And if you want to double up and get, Azeez Ojulari as well, I don't know for a fact if Azeez Ojulari is under contract for next season, but you could have yourself a nice little rotation as well. And like I said with Azeez, there is no reason on earth that the Giants should keep him because they are wasting that defensive line. It's actually criminal what they're doing.
I see Justin Fan in the chat. We must give AG his flowers. Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator. The Lions defense is better this year, even without Hutch in the game. I was wrong to doubt the Glenn.
Yeah, I certainly had my doubts about Aaron Glenn. More so in 2022 when they got off to that bad start. But yesterday I said, and yes, apologies to Aaron Glenn. He is, at least this season, with what he's been tasked to work with, is every bit the coordinator that Ben Johnson is. Every bit. It is the best coach and coordinator trio in the NFL, even above the Chiefs, because the Chiefs have Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. But Matt Nagy, the point is the Lions have the best trio of a head coach and a OCDC for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? I want to talk a little bit more about this as we go along in the show. Let's pay some bills real quick, man. We'll come back and talk more Za'Darius Smith, more Detroit Lions, and we also got what's trending and the mailbag segment ahead as well.
Yes.
Man, what a day. Brad Holmes decided I'm cooking in the morning.
Absolutely. Got to tell you about Les Stanford. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. The same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward Sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap-biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Hey, shout out to New Holland Brewing Company for sponsoring the watch party and the post-game show every single Detroit Lions game. Live at Hayes Socials in Shelby Township. We get things kicked off with the Lions game and the watch party hosted by the Woodward heavyweights and other Woodward sports personalities. And it's a great time every single time. The atmosphere, the environment. Lions fans never go wrong. The most liked video from our watch party content was from everybody singing the fight song forward down the field after we kicked. Buried the freaking Packers, man. Punted them to the moon. It was beautiful, and you want to be a part of it. I'm telling you, you want to be a part of it. Hayes Socials in Shelby Township. You get to eat, drink, and cheer on the brand new Lions. Only on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. And in the post-game show with Sticky Nancy and right after to bring you instant analysis, and we get you guys involved. If you want to call in, if you're there in person, we get you on the mic and on the camera, and now you're a part of the show. And if you can't be there, make sure you're tapped in to Woodward Sports. It is the perfect companion for your game day coverage. But all of this is brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine. Call to your local long drink, 1800 Tequila, Sabbath Coffee, and all the Sorokis. Woo, go Lions. Not on the post that. I don't even care how Mike it. Y'all, JB or Mr. Auditor, tell them, like, seriously, like, send it and tell them to post it. Brad Holmes, my brother in bald, Brad Holmes, fired up, man. That's the type of energy that I love. And you know that it's not fake, man, to see him on the field at Lambeau last year just going around and enjoying himself. To see him on the road at some of these other games, the Buccaneers game and others, this matters. And I think he wants to, just like Jared Goff, prove that some other organizations probably doubted them, where these guys are now proven to be, in my opinion, MVP and maybe general manager of the year.
Hey, that's
give Brad Holmes his flowers, NFL. I'm tired of this.
I would vote for him.
Hey,
I would. Brad Holmes,
some more flowers.
GM of the year. maybe Dan Campbell, coach of the year. I mean,
they're cooking right now.
That's and Jared Goff maybe MVP, and that's the thing I've been talking about with the Jared Goff MVP case, and we can even go to the Dan Campbell MVP case.
And if the season ended right now, Hutch would have been defensive player of the year.
Oh, when he went out, for sure. Yeah. And the Dan Campbell, I said MVP case, coach of the year case.
He can be MVP too. Come on, Dan.
It helps your case, and it sucks that it's like this if you overcome adversity, because the Lions, they're 7-1 despite having no injury luck whatsoever. I mean, they lost Aiden freaking Hutchins. They lost Marcus Davenport. They lost Kaminsky. I mean, I don't know if I'm missing anybody obvious, but those are your bookend edge rushers gone. Malcolm Rodriguez missed last game. Derek Barnes, that was the one that I'm missing. And that's another,
I think, underrated loss.
Yeah, and I think that's another feather in the cap for Aaron Glenn being potentially coordinator of the year. And WeezyD313 in the chat is having himself a horrible day. It's like historic.
I see our Chiefs fan has showed back up.
Oh,
too.
the Chiefs fan has showed up as well. But WeezyD313 is claiming that none of us ever gave Aaron Glenn credit until now. And let me explain my evolution on Aaron Glenn, because I think it's kind of similar to a lot of folks. He had some allegations to answer coming into this season, whether or not last year was him more or he didn't have the pieces, or a little bit of both.
Hey.
This season, with improvements from, an Aiden Hutchinson, within additions of DJ Reader and Carlton Davis, and improvements of Ali McNeil and Brian Branch and Kerby Joseph, and drafting Terrion Arnold, I think this season, with how well they played when Hutch was healthy, that those questions were answered, that it was all about not having enough personnel, because this year they had it, and the Lions were a top 10 scoring defense in the NFL. And now that a lot of the guys have been injured, the fact that Aaron Glenn has still been able to scheme things up to where they're playing well enough to win even without those injuries, that really puts it over the top to where I'm now saying Aaron Glenn is an elite defensive coordinator. So it wasn't just now, it's an evolution. And I think it was an evolution that was fair, by the way. Aaron Glenn has always been great at what he does. He just had some things to clean up, and he needed to get some more bodies, some more Jimmies and Joes.
Yeah, and for me, because I'm not going to ever understate or undersell what KG, oh my gosh, Kelvin Shepard, linebackers coach.
I mean,
for the
we
Lions.
don't know. We never seen him in the same room.
We never seen him. You're right. You see how they've been cooking up, man. KG was mysteriously gone. And you know what? They had to pay some extra attention to the linebackers. And Terrell Williams on that defensive line. But last year was where it really set in for me. When they had those defensive injuries to the secondary, and the pass rush wasn't getting home to the satisfaction of everybody's liking. And they were talking about, hey, we see he's getting pass rushes, but where are the sacks made at Hutchinson? We talked about the change that Aaron Glenn was going to have to make. And people continue to say, is it talent or is it on coaching? When we saw him make those tweaks about halfway through the season, maybe game 6 or 7 with the defense, and that's when they went into hyperdrive with that bend but don't break defense that catered so much better to the talent that they did or didn't have on the squad, especially in that secondary. We don't have to be reminded about who was playing back there and I like their heart. But Jerry Jacobs and Kendall Vildor should not have been starting games in the Detroit Lions secondary, who had expectations to win the division, win playoff games, and potentially get to a Super Bowl. But Aaron Glenn stepped up last year, and his team was one that, hey, I remember we continued to say it on the show, Aaron Glenn gives up like 17 points a game, plus or minus like 3 to 5 points. Every single game, his defense came prepared. Nobody was getting over 22, 23 points, and that gave the offense just what they needed to be able to make sure that most of those games were dubs. And just seeing that last year from a strategy standpoint is where I was like, throw this guy all the personnel that you can. Get him what he needs, because he's proven, at least from a coaching standpoint, that he has these two components as a coordinator that we've been searching for from our head coaches and coordinators for years. Leaders of men, and they can actually coach on the field.
And speaking of guys that have not been available to the Lions this year, and Aaron Glenn and the defense has stepped up anyway, one of the great adjustments that Aaron Glenn made last year, and in real time it was one of the things that I was most impressed with Aaron Glenn on at the time during his tenure as the Lions defensive coordinator, was having Ife Melifonwu blitz. He was a demon.
Man, we don't have Ife this year.
We don't even have Ife, but last year when the Lions were really struggling to get a pass rush, it was Ife Melifonwu blitzing that, like I said, he was one of the best safeties in the NFL last year, at least on a per-game basis. And it was with his blitzing, it was with his coverage, getting interceptions, and he hasn't been here either. But that was an adjustment that Aaron Glenn had to make when they weren't getting a pass rush. And like I said before, when the defense was healthy and had its guys, it was elite. And when they've lost a lot of those guys, because of a lot of the improvements that have been made to these players under the coaching of Aaron Glenn, they have stayed to the point where they're playing well enough to win. And now Za'Darius Smith, and this is for the Terrell Lamars and the WeezyD313s in the chats who are acting like complete crybabies today. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you think that the Lions were a Super Bowl caliber team if they didn't make the Za'Darius Smith move, I'm fine with that. You've got a leg to stand on at this point because they were undefeated without it. But let me ask you this. Does Za'Darius Smith help or hurt? If you think he hurts...
He's backing him into a corner.
If you think... No, honestly, if you think that Za'Darius Smith hurts, if you're going to cry about it, if you're going to go to Ford Field and boo him, I'm obviously exaggerating, but that's the way you're talking in the chat, you're an inbred who fucks your cousin. Sorry.
Whoa.
That's what you are.
Wow.
If that's what you think.
He's back.
Still changed.
Back again.
Change happens.
Return of the Mac.
Change happens when you ring.
It's Mark Morrison, everybody.
What up, though, Chase? Hey, listen, Brian Ruth is cooking up in the chat, man. I see you, Brian Ruth. He says, Lions averaging 30 a game on offense and only giving up 19 a game on defense. That's a Super Bowl team, 100. And I agree. That's why I say when Aiden Hutchinson went down, you can't replace Aiden Hutchinson singularly as a player. By committee on defense, you can do things to scheme. You can do things to add more talent to try and make up the difference, which they have and which they will continue to do. But that offense and Jared Goff having an MVP caliber season has been something that has been, I believe, a lot more underrated because obviously, let's just be shocked when Aiden Hutchinson goes down. But as we've come through this, now we're realizing and seeing a lot more of what this team is. And that offense, it is elite.
Yes.
It's elite.
Best offense in the NFL at this point. At least, I mean, by the numbers, it's borne out by that, and they've been able to. And whether these allegations were fair or not, they went into the frozen tundra, which wasn't even the frozen tundra. It was the monsoon tundra, and looked a lot more efficient and ran a lot more smooth than the team that's supposed to be used to the elements. So. That also plays a big factor with how great the Alliance offense is.
You set the chat off, right?
I did.
You really did, man.
I did.
Keep my cousin and wife's name out your mouth. Za'Darius Smith is a Detroit Lion, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry. It was so vindicating because people thought I was a lunatic for saying that people actually would be mad if Brad Holmes made a move, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it.
Hey, yo, brother. It's easy. I see you.
I think if anybody reads Q-Ball 93 Super Chat, it should be Sam. Sam
I need to read that one.
Oh, boy, did I miss it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
use this as you can read it.
Use this as a Wheezy Sucks button. Okay, 11 likes.
Q-Ball 93 $2 Super Chat.
And like I said, I'm not one. I appreciate you, WeezyD313 and Terrell Lamar, but this is Brett Favre's 6-interception game at St. Louis in the playoffs bad. This is the type of day that you guys are having, and you don't have the ceiling of Brett Favre's MVP seasons. You're just bad today.
I do want to be fair to them because everybody has their opinions. Everybody does, and I want to respect it, even if there's disagreements, because they are some of our regulars, man. But that's what the platform is for. You know, if we have a day, people are going to let us know about it. We hear about it often. If we have a take that is not in agreement with you guys. Listen, bro, I caught a stray on the post-game show. I'm sitting there just taking calls.
I saw that.
Brad Hendricks going to be like, for victory money, it's going to be Pistons for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We had that plan for today, and look what happened. Lions took over, man.
That was funny, though.
That was funny. Shout out to Brad. But that's what I'm saying, man. I love our chat family, the banter, the relationships. And the way that you guys support us, I continue to tell you guys on this journey. We look back now, Flannel, and even JB, and it's like 3 years, 3.5 years, 4 years. You know what I mean? It's crazy to see just how far this has come, to see the chat family continuing to grow. As the Lions have continued to percolate and get better, we've continued to grow as well as our chat family. And I love the relationships, the interactions, and the fact that they know, that's just us and Flannel. That's just us and KoolAid. Like, I love it.
Even Terrell Lamar and Weezy 313. Well, we are happy you're here. I just
fired up, boy. Let's go Lions.
I think, can we gatekeep them from cheering for Za'Darius Smith? Is that unkind? Because I don't like it when people do that, but I don't know. I think I might have to break my rule. Weezy 313 and Terrell Lamar, you guys should be happy with yourselves because you took me out of my bliss because I was a changed man. I still am. Yeah. That leaf is still turned to the opposite side. It is turned over, but you guys got me today. I'm shocked.
They got you.
Shocked, I tell you.
Terrell Lamar, never disrespecting none of you guys on WUW. Hey, bro, y'all are all good. Trust me. Hey, Vincent E., so glad I found Woodward Sports Network 100. Hey, and I'm glad too. Man. This has been honestly a dream. We found ourselves in some pretty cool situations, opportunities. I got to actually host on the field with Kid KoolAid on Ford Field, bro. Like, that type of stuff is amazing. And now we get to be able to be on a ground level as our Detroit Lions are cashing in on the Super Bowl season.
Gotta love to see it. Making power moves, keeping up with the Joneses, understanding that while, yes, these wins, this regular season is phenomenal and you feel invincible, that the goals, the job is far from finished.
Oh, hey, shout out to Michael Danya. I see you in the chat. J-Mo Jersey Watch is back on.
Oh, that's right.
Welcome back, J-Mo. Welcome back.
Yeah, it looked for a while that it was damn near a lock. And you know, it's actually crazy. This isn't even meant to be an insult, but it's just, for a while, it looked like an absolute lock, like a mortal lock. You could have bet your house on it. And the last 3 games, he's had -4 receiving yards. So I want to get this jersey. I do. But my pocketbook would probably, my wallet would probably benefit from it being like $9.95 or something like that. But by all means, J-Mo, if it helps the Lions win, get yourself your 1,000.
Especially if Jack Campbell keeps it up too, because don't you have a Jack Campbell?
Yeah. Man, I'm definitely gonna have to maybe sell my body or something. Well, shouldn't have said that. Why'd I do that?
Well, we got Salvation Army.
You're talking about like donating plasma and blood.
Yes,
everybody, chill.
Yeah, okay. You get me, man.
Before we get to
pause. You get me. All right.
Listen. Speaking of Salvation Army, we are going to be out there. Some of us are going to be out there, including myself, doing bell ringing, raising money for the charity and for the community as well, and those in need. And we're also doing a live broadcast from that location, the Kroger just across Woodward Avenue, for Salvation Army to help them raise money during this time. So it's going to be an awesome thing, man. I can't wait. Motor City Patriot, best sports network in Detroit. My start here was with the charity stuff. it was with the Make-A-Wish and Wish Upon a Teen foundations, all the stuff that we know Joey does as well with Mott's Children's Hospital, the stuff for studio. It was charitable things. Even the first several set of events that the Pistons allowed me to come to before it was a press conference, bro, they were all charitable events. And Woodward Sports has been a part of making a difference in lives of people out there in the community. And I like that, man. I like that we're taking this step and continuing on in it, man.
Yeah, when I heard about that live broadcast we're going to do, it's cool because it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from the studio. So it's going to be like the same drive. I'm just going to park somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, people go to Kroger all the time during like our lunch break. So it's it's not one of those remotes
Best remote ever. Well, it's going to be a little chilly, but you know, it's for a good cause.
That's all right. That's all right. It's one where you basically take the exact same drive. You have the exact same morning routine. It's just you go to Kroger, and if you want to stop by, which I probably will, and say hello to my friends here, I can.
Hey, you see my conscience is up on the screen right now. Shout out to Brandon in the chat. He says Flannel is killing it today. He's already fired up. LFG. And then Danny G, thanks to Smith, my pants are ripped.
That's fair.
Oh, that is fair. We had to pick up this desk after the first break. Remember, we had to go to break early after the news?
Yes.
It was because the desk was starting to flip with no hands.
And Danny G, nice profile photo you got. And and of course, to the shock of absolutely no one, it was Stick who made me make that face.
Dante151, we got the top 10s tomorrow. Trust me, a lot of the show got moved to tomorrow. Za'Darius Smith took over every single time slot, every single segment here. We got Woodward Pistons tomorrow. We got more Lions tomorrow. We're going to break down the trade deadline because other teams are still, deliberating and making trades and things that are going off right now. So
there's still a lot of trades on the table.
Yeah,
that need to
tomorrow's show's going to be just as packed.
It is going to be just as packed, and it actually works out perfectly because we can probably move the fantasy segment, which I don't want to move. I'd love to talk about it this week to another day. And then
let's skip it this week.
Yeah.
Let's skip it this week.
Yeah.
For some reason, and I know that he's in the chat right now, I've grown from really enjoying beating Chase to really enjoying beating Justin. I lost because Jaden Daniels got hurt. Wah!
Shout out to that dude, Justin.
I know you're in the chat. I know. And I'll do it when you're here to defend yourself. But Jaden Daniels, he had a nice day for you, but just it wasn't enough because Mike Gesicki. Shout out Mike Gesicki.
He was talking about that at the watch party.
Oh, man. You know what? Let's get into this next break.
And that was a terrible impression of you, Justin. I understand. That was
Bro, let's get to this next break. We'll discuss what we're going to do going through it. And then during the break, what we're going to do here. Because obviously we got mailbag and a little bit of what's trending. So let's rock. That's right. Where are we going here, Mr.
Let's double up. Let's do 1800 and Dispo.
1800 and Dispo.
What a combo, huh?
Hey, I'll do the 1800. I unfortunately won't partake in the Dispo, but that's what JB's for. And I believe Chase. 1800 Tequila, official tequila of Woodward Sports Lions watch parties and post-game shows. Join 1800 Tequila and Woodward Sports every Lions game live at Hayes Social in Shelby Township and celebrate the wins with smooth 1800 Tequila, proud sponsor of your Detroit Lions. 1800 Tequila, the best taste in tequila. Drink responsibly. And of course, you got to go to Dispo. How would you like to win free bud for a year? That's right. Free smoke, weed, reefer, flower, however you refer to your favorite cannabis product. It's your chance to win free cannabis for a year, compliments of Dispo Dispensary. All you have to do is scan the QR code on the screen, sign up, and you'll be entered for a chance to win. Don't miss out on this insane giveaway. Sign up today to elevate your game. Dispo Dispensary, your local plug. Must be 21 or older to enter. Terms and conditions apply.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
You and I pay our bills. Unlike my opponent, Dave Coulter, I won't take advantage of my job because I work for you. I'm Nick Jonai, and by the way, I do pay my water bills on time, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Nick Jonai for Oakland County.
Hey, shout out to Soroki's. I know they stopped by. Hey, social shout out stick behind me as well too. Every single Lions watch party for us. But man, have they got a new deal out for you right now. They're debuting their fresh signature flavored wings. Grab your friends, grab a New York style pizza. You know what? Order some wings as well too. You see them on the screen right there. They are so delicious. Shout out to lemon pepper wings as well too. Look, if you don't have time to stop in store to grab them, you can always order online for you at Sorokis.com.
Hey, and we are back. What up, though, people? It is Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the WUW Crew. Obviously, the big news, just to reset it again, it is Za'Darius Smith to the Detroit Lions. He comes with the 7th round pick. So the Detroit Lions get a 7th and Za'Darius 4, 2025 5th round, and a 2026 6th round pick.
Just a steal.
That is a steal. And they're only going to pay $605,000 of his compensation because the Browns have already paid him $11.4 million for this year, and next year it's looking like $5 million, just a little over $5 million cap hit. Brad Holmes, what's cooking?
Brad Holmes, what's cooking? And if you really think about it, probably something I should have talked about earlier. When you look how the Lions have built this team, as much as we want to talk about his prowess to draft in the later rounds, like getting a Malcolm Rodriguez, or we thought in 2022 was James Houston, now we're kind of like just a regular-ass 6th-round pick. It's through the first 4 rounds is where he's really cooked. So giving up a 5th and a 6th, don't care, especially at this stage.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. We were supposed to deliberate through the break. Hey, you got something for what's trending? You want to cook up?
Yeah.
Let's spark up word to dispo, man. Let's do that. Go Lions.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for JB Smooth.
Hey, let's rock.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Look, I'm not going to deliberate it anymore. I'm not going to hold back anymore because I know we still got a lot more Lions talk to talk about, but I got to show you these videos. Just first up, Coach KoolAid.
Yes,
I don't know
sir.
about you, but if a kid does this on the court before making this shot, what will you do?
It depends. I got to see. Oh, he's at the free throw line? No. Not here for it. Not here for it.
Come on.
Not here for it. Not at the free throw line, bro. It's a free shot. I'm not here for it.
Coach
I mean,
Flannel,
is that just his, like, if it's just his free throw routine, it's like, why? What are we doing? Flannel, what are we doing?
Just shoot the damn ball.
What are we doing?
Does it matter that they're up 28? If you see the scoreboard in the background, it's 61-33.
Oh, are they for sure winning?
I'm guessing.
And then you miss too.
And
like
miss,
you can't do all of that and then miss the ball. Like,
if they're losing by 28, he should get yanked off the floor like mid free throw. But if they're up by 28,
mid free throw,
like you should be like Joey Crawford and jump in and like block it.
Hey, side note, I see you in the chat. The ones he said, y'all got me yelling in the airport, man. Let's freaking go!
Oh, see?
Woo! Za'Darius Smith, let's rock.
Za'Darius Smith, it's beautiful.
See, look, we already hyped up for Za'Darius Smith as well, too. Shout out to another QB who, unfortunately, will end up on IR. Sorry, Dak, but you know what? We're still laughing about you, and we're still laughing about you because people still dress up as you for Halloween as well, too.
Oh,
so
boy.
Imagine pulling up to a bar, ordering a drink, doing this.
Uh-oh. What?
Yo, let me get a Bud Light.
He get no hoods tonight. None. That's it for his night. That's it.
That's
the most he's gonna enjoy is that brewski.
It's funny because like that's a routine he does pregame, and I know some people defend it, and I get it if there's purpose to it, but it's Dak Prescott.
But his hips are always messed up.
Right.
What does it help?
And you can say like, and then because it's Dak Prescott, you can be like, what is all of this getting you?
If he really wanted to go all the way with the costume, he'd get his ass kicked at the end of the night when Dak Prescott got his ass kicked in like Cabo.
Because this is the year where like Dak isn't even having a good regular season. The Cowboys aren't even having a good regular season. This is rock bottom for them, and you just hate to see it.
Oh man, yeah, that's hilarious, brother.
You just hate to see it. And finally, I will end what's trending with this. Look, I know I may never make it to Fast and Furious, but you're not getting past me. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Yep, pretty bad. You know, even though it is a go-kart race.
Are they like still like with?
Oh, they're good. They're good.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're fine. They're fine.
I've flipped a go-kart doing buggy before. You're good.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Hey, Chase,
This
as
guy
long as
sitting here
Chase
like
knows.
goodness. Hey, so where do you go kart at, Chase? That's my question.
When I was younger,
Were you playing Mario Kart somewhere?
when I was younger, my dad surprised my sister and I. He got us like this little like go-kart dune buggy thing, and we'd take it over to my aunt's house, and she has like some hills. So if you take the hills a little tight and a little fast, you just end up rolling over a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
Sheesh.
That's
Bumper.
pretty rough.
Go-karts.
That's pretty rough. But that's it for what's trending, you guys. Let's hop back into some mailbag questions.
Hey, let's rock. And you know, I see the chat right now just getting fired up over this flip, man, for the go-kart. Great segment, as always, JB Smooth with What's Trending. Word to Dispo. And we got to hear from our friends at Feldman, because we're going to jump into our Wake Up Woodward Feldman mailbag segment. So get your questions into the chat, family.
What do you do, Feldman, JB?
You know what? Let's second best Mark White and Feldman.
Let's do it.
Let's rock. Want to know what the best Lions pregame party is? Every single home game. It's right in the middle of the city at Detroit's very own second best bar, located at 42 Watson Street. It's the ultimate fan experience. Enjoy some smooth Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey while catching the Woodward Sports pregame show. Only at second best bar. Come get some.
Absolutely. And then you gotta go to Mark White. Dreaming of a new home but feeling that financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
Hey, and we are back. It is now time for the Wake Up Woodward mailbag segment presented by the Feldman Automotive Group. I can't wait either, man. I've been talking to them. Got to get into something new. You guys already know. We got our first car totaled when wifey was pregnant. And then the other car that we have, someone rear-ended us in that. And it was again, me, wifey in. At the time, baby in the back was 6 months old. And we were just like, you know what? Let's just get something even a little bit bigger. Got to keep the whole KoolAid.
Oh, yeah.
All the KoolAid jammers and packets safe at home, man. Definitely. But shout out to Feldman. I love Mark, Ryan Palter, all those guys. They're such good people, cool people. But let's get into this Feldman mailbag segment. Let's get into it. And you know what? Gold Lions 157. We aren't good enough on the line yet. We need another player. And I'm going to turn that more into a question. I believe that we're definitely good enough on this line to win a Super Bowl, but I'm not going to be I do want more help. But if we had to say one or the other, which side are you
on? I think we're good. Just given what else they have defensively, given how great the Lions offense is. But yeah, if Brad Holmes decides to make another trade, I would be ecstatic, because then you almost become like a cheat code.
Hey, you know what? William asked that too. Feldman Mailbag. Will Brad Holmes be willing to trade for another defensive end? And who do you think that would be and why?
I mean, there's Carl Granderson, there's Cam Jordan, there's Azeez Ojulari. I think the Trey Hendrickson dream is dead, because if I'm the Bengals, I'm not trading him. I still think they have a chance to win. Any of those names that Harold Landry, Arden Key, the Tennessee Titans duo, any one of those names, even Chase Young, who people don't like, but even in addition to Za'Darius Smith, I'd be okay with that. So any of the above.
Shot 216. I can always count on him for a Pistons mailbag. Feldman Mailbag. With the Pistons being 3-5, they should be 4-4. But with the Pistons being 3-5, is it safe to say that Cade and Ivy backcourt can work together? Man, we've been saying this for some time. You see exactly what they are right now. People should have allowed Ivy and Cade to get some time to work. They still haven't, and look how good they are.
I would say people, you mean we don't have to talk about that, but no, honestly, like, I'm sure I will be making pretty regular apologies to Jaden Ivey. And I think what this season has proved is that Monty Williams was even worse than we can even imagine.
You don't know what to trust with your eyes. And that's why last year you give everybody kind of just a wash, rinse, and repeat. Just let's start this thing completely all over. You got a coach in here now that has this team looking good. That has them like in the right spots. They got some things to clean up, and they got to add some more talent. But overall, I like what JB Bickerstaff has brought to the table for the Detroit Pistons. All right, next Feldman Mailbag question. I saw one. Where's it? Oh, whoa, man, they just popping in here. All right, Shad, why are people so obsessed with Chase Young?
I think it's because I see the smarm there, but let me answer this truthfully. Because whether you believe it or not, he did help the 49ers last year. Nick Bosa was playing really well at the beginning of the season, but he needed that bookend. He wasn't getting the sack totals. Before Chase Young, he had 3. After Chase Young, he had 7.5. And Chase Young had a sack in the Super Bowl. He's not perfect. He's obviously a flawed player who hasn't lived up to being the number 2 overall pick, but I think he can help a contending team like he did the 49ers last year. And it could be the Lions. I'm not pounding the table for Chase Young. I just wouldn't be mad either.
And I see Dave Witt in the chat. He put linebacker in another edge is what he's looking for. Linebacker room. Do you think the Lions need to do something to bolster that room? Because they didn't do anything in the offseason to really bolster the linebacker core. And we talked about it, that we were expecting guys to take steps up, which some have. But injuries have played a factor as it relates to their depth. I don't know how much you sustain, if Derek Barnes and Malcolm Rodriguez, who have been playing really, really well since, the last third of last season, how do you sustain going forward? Do they need to add something, or do you believe minor injuries, guys will be back in the thick of things when it matters?
I mean, Malcolm Rodriguez is coming back. I think as long as you got Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone playing at a high level, and Malcolm Rodriguez, who did start his rookie year, by the way, playing, I don't necessarily mind. I think if it's going to be a linebacker, it's going to be somebody who's technically linebacker / edge rusher, like an Azeez Ojulari or a somebody like that, who's or like a Harold Landry or Arden Key, who are technically 3-4 linebackers but edge rushers. I don't think it's going to be somebody like a Jack Campbell type player.
Yeah. I see some comments in here too. IT Hips, I still think you need. I think you still need to make a move because you need depth. Let's not forget, we're only halfway through the season and injuries still happen. And that's what we were kind of pontificating. That's one of my new favorite words as well on the show a couple days ago. I think we were at Feldman, actually, when we started to say, you know what? Everyone's talking about we need a edge rush. I think we need to add depth because we've had injuries, and the guys we thought could step up in place of injuries haven't done that. And that's where I'm like, you know what? That's what makes Aaron Glenn and what he's doing that much more impressive, because how are they doing this? How are they getting this done? He's been able to kind of scheme and mix things in, but I want to be able to alleviate some of that pressure as well, man.
And they just did with Za'Darius Smith too. Woo. They just did. That's a reinforcement that I think they ultimately needed to win the Super Bowl, but now they have it.
Chad Smith, he says, for Feldman Mailbag, Azeez checks the boxes.
Bring him home.
Bring him home.
Absolutely.
And he's somebody that, you know what? I heard that name in the Pistons media room last night, too.
Really?
Because, you know, multiple people there cover both teams.
Yeah.
I heard that name in the Pistons media room. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at this deadline. But the Lions have not been bashful about calling these teams. Like, the reports have continued to come out that the Lions are seeking for something. So it's cool to see. And it seems as if they're going to cook something like this, you give yourselves the opportunity to not just get what you need, but go and get a little bit of gravy too, and a little bit more gravy. We don't need it, but I'm going to get it.
Whew, and Azeez Ojulari, let me make sure I have this right, because you always hear things, but you want to make sure that it's actually true. Yeah. Hate to be smarmy about Brad Holmes. Azeez Ojulari's missed a lot of games due to injury. Of course Brad Holmes is going to bring him.
Nice. We talk identity.
That's honestly Azeez Ojulari's biggest defect throughout his career, and the fact that he's not much of a run defender. But he has struggled with injury, but he has played every game this year and been highly effective.
With Feldman, yeah. And we'll do Desert Stallion Feldman. Talking heads on flagship saying Smith to Detroit is good. That said, he was a free reign because teams focused on Myles Garrett, where now Smith is number one. Will Smith production continue or not?
I mean, I'm not going to lie and say that being bookend to Myles Garrett doesn't help, but I kind of mentioned this earlier, how Za'Darius Smith, he's better than what they have by far, which is a first benchmark. And I think that it's going to be a very advantageous relationship between him and like the interior of the defensive line and the linebackers as well. Because you actually, like an Ali McNeil, as I said, he's somebody who right now you can focus a lot of attention on. But when you have a real proven edge rusher in Za'Darius Smith next to you on that defensive line, it's like Za'Darius Smith is going to win one-on-ones. Maybe at some points O-line has to double Za'Darius Smith. I'm not saying they for sure will. But the point is that this defensive line has some talent. It's not Za'Darius Smith and nobody. Most of the talent is on the interior, but still, it's going to be very complimentary.
Maybe we take some time to break that down a little bit more later this week.
Sure.
I think that would be dope. Focus on that interior and take more of a deeper dive on how Za'Darius Smith being there makes defenses have to think twice about how they scheme against the Detroit Lions defensive line. But I see our brother Matthew Broder here, and I got another chat that I want to utilize to tee his up. Chuck Brewer in the chat, Barnes returns by the playoffs. And then Broder says, to keep it consistent with the linebacker room, I like the linebacker room, but maybe an OLB to take on Barnes' role, an outside linebacker. However, Nowatzki has been doing really well in that Sam role.
He has. Like, he's another one. He's the dictionary definition of an unsung hero, but he's played better than I thought he would. That's another one that I may have dismissed and overlooked. But Trevor Nowatzki, he's the story of this Lions season. Trevor Nowatzki's not going to get a big chapter, I don't think, but he's going to at least be a footnote who helps you win some games.
If he's off IR.
Really?
Is that news, or do we know that? Xavier D put that?
Not 100% sure.
Huh.
Do we know? Well, let's try. Chase, if you can try and figure out.
Talk about enforcement.
Because Iffy is back. Oh, my word.
Is that true?
I don't know. I just see people saying, when can he come back? I see Xavier D saying it, but we'll see. We'll have to look it up, man.
Could be a big topic on tomorrow's show. Goodness
gracious. We have to see. We're going to have to see. Right now, obviously, the big news of the day, just to reset it before we break things down. Hey, let's get that set up. Hey, there we go. Detroit Lions, man, they trade for Za'Darius Smith. They get their edge rush help today. They receive also a 7th-round pick from the Browns in exchange for a 2025 5th-round pick, a 2026 6th-round pick. And here's just kind of the salt on top, man. Brad Holmes and the Lions are only paying $605,000 of his contract this year. Why? Because the Bengals have already paid $11.4 million of his compensation.
Browns.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Browns. I'm sorry. And next year, that cap hit's looking like just a little over $5 million.
Nothing.
Cook Brad Holmes.
Nothing.
Cook Brad Holmes. Goodness. That's a show, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That's a show. Hey, shout out to our brother Matthew Broder. We see you in the chat. Keep cooking up, man. Just as a person in general, and then obviously in your professional life and with Woodward and Maine. I love the show every single time, bro. Keep cooking. That dude, Justin, KG, love y'all. Can't wait to get you guys back in studio. This elite booth, man. Shout out to Chase holding it down. I like the Pistons hat too, man.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Yeah, like I called for yesterday, man. It'd be a victory Monday and a victory Tuesday. Went in on to LCA, and the Lakers got to go home with the L.
Hey, you know, we're going to talk about these Detroit Pistons. They've earned the discussion. They do sit right now. The playoffs started today in the playoffs. So I'm going to flex that every single time. They got their third win of the season last year on December 30th.
Oh.
Yes, it is November 5th.
That's
it's almost
crazy.
2 months. It's almost 2 months, bro.
Way to paint a picture, KoolAid.
That we're gonna talk about it tomorrow. We're gonna talk because you should have seen Cade's face when Johnny Kane was like, "Hey, we were about to leave the studio, leave the press conference room." And he was like, "Oh, wait, Cade. Do you guys realize you won your third game December 30th last year?" And Cade was like, "What?" And like the smile on his face was just like, "Dog, I'm gonna try and I think I got some of that video. We're gonna get into it tomorrow. We're gonna talk more Lions tomorrow." Oh man, Tigers are even getting into some stuff that we'll probably dive into maybe next week as well. Detroit sports is on the rise, and I love it. Chat family, thank you guys for making this a great morning for us already. Smash that like button if you haven't gotten an opportunity to, especially on the way out. But Woodward Sports is MVP, man. In the TD booth, that is JB Smooth. What up, though, man?
Hey, another victory Tuesday. I guess it just keeps rolling on this week. A lot of these teams are making moves. Shout out to the Lions. Once again, shout out to the Tigers as well, too. We seen the moves yesterday. Shout out to Hooper handing out them hot L's to all the Lakers fans that were at LCA last night. Hey, let's keep this week rolling, man. Good vibes only.
Great vibes. Hey, you know what? Flannel Sam right here, dog. I've known you for so long. We got to this company, within a couple months of each other, yo. Yeah. And it's been so much support behind the scenes. To see your rise and to see you in this spot as things have changed, the more Flannel Sam stays the same. Vet of the squad and Red Wings correspondent and all sports knower. What up, dog?
Hey, how often do we get breaking news on this show?
We finally got one, bro.
It was, I loved what we were going to talk about, but the fact that we could do an entire show on the Za'Darius Smith trade and all of the positive ramifications of that, and the chat, you guys were immaculate today. Other than a couple of members, but I'm still happy that you guys are there too.
Hey, Greg Allspa, he said, "I love this show."
Thank you.
We love you guys.
Shout out, Greg.
Shout out to Greg. You guys are the most important part of this thing. Greg Allspa, KoolAid Smile. I do. What's happening right now is unprecedented with Woodward Sports. And it's because of what you guys do for us. And that's why I'm always saying, when I'm asking you guys to smash that like button to support, I'm telling you, we definitely appreciate it. And it goes way farther than even you all know. So thank you guys for supporting us. It's your boy Brandon, aka Detroit KoolAid, your credentialed Pistons reporter and writer for the network. Have a great day. Brad Holmes, keep cooking up. Hopefully we got more breaking news shows on the way. Stay tapped in with Big D Energy, Ermanni Edwards, and the heavyweights. They're all breaking it down and talking Lions today. Have a blessed day, y'all. Wake up.